The next topic which we will be discussing is booster doses. Booster dose. Have you ever heard about booster dose? If yes, then you must be knowing that these are the extra administration of a certain vaccine which has already been given. Why this happens? Because there are certain vaccines which are not effective for the long term, because their effect is there in the body for only short term. They are short lived and they do not provide us immunity for the lifetime. So they require certain booster dose to boost the effect. Okay, so here two things you need to keep in mind, that the effectiveness of certain disease is lifelong. They do not require booster doses, but the vaccines whose effect is short lived, they only require these booster doses to be administered every now and then or after a set period of time. Okay, so what happens there? In this case, these vaccines have to be administered after some appropriate time gap to boost the immune system. The repetitive doses which are given are called as booster doses. This question will also come for single mark or maybe 2 marks with examples. It will be framed. So this is also an important question. See, now routine vaccinations that require booster doses, these vaccinations are requiring booster doses because their effect is short lived. Why at all booster doses are required? Because the effect of certain vaccines are short lived. They do not give us lifelong protection, so they have to be given a booster doses. So examples will be measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, HPV, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, influenza, etc. Okay, just when you will see your card, your own immunization card, you will come to know that you have been administered booster doses for DPT, DPT1, DPT2 and DPT3. There will be written, this will be written on your immunization card that you have been administered first dose on this particular date, second dose on this particular date. Okay, likewise for chickenpox and influenza also. Just check and understand yourself, your health record, what has been administered, how many vaccines have been given, any vaccine is left over, any vaccine you need to administer now, what kind of vaccines you can be given at this age group, so that any new vaccine which has come for your age group, just find out all these things yourself so that you are developing an interest in these things and protecting yourself from many diseases in future. Okay, now here we will be discussing about one technique. This technique is called as ELISA. ELISA, the full form is already there in your this abbreviation sheet, and I'll tell you, it is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Okay, see here. It is an antigen antibody reaction. You know that antigen and antibody react. This I have already told you in the previous classes, that they react to form a complex. So what is being done in this technique? We are having the blood sample, and blood sample may have antigen, or if we don't have the blood sample, we have any other sample which contains infective antigens present. So how to test? This ELISA test is done for every antigen antibody reaction. It is a primary reaction test which is being conducted. So what happens here? The antigen is being taken, it is a common laboratory technique which is usually done to measure the concentration of antibodies or antigens in the blood. Both the ways it can be done to find out whether the antibodies have been generated in the body or not, and the other way around also, to find out whether the person is having antigens present or not. This test is being utilized in the recent times also for this corona pandemic. Okay, so next is what is being done. Just understand the process. Antigens from the sample to be tested are attached to a surface. Then a complementary, that is matching antibody, is applied to the surface so that they can bind to each other and form a complex. This thing is very clear to everyone, that antigens are taken from the sample, they are being kept in one surface that we call as wells. We create wells. I'll show you. There is a picture of that ELISA tray also. So then the matching antibody is applied over the surface so that it can bind to the antigen. Then the next step is This antibody is linked to an enzyme, and then any unbound antibodies are removed. Then what we are doing, we are adding an enzyme so that it binds to the antibody, and extra amount of antibodies are removed by washing. Washing is a very important step here. After each step we need to wash the whole system. The antigens will not be washed, the antigen antibody complex will be there, so don't worry, the extra thing will be washed away. And in the final step, a substance containing the enzyme substrate is added. Okay, so 3 steps only. In the first step you are adding the antigens, and to the antigens you are adding the antibodies so that they can combine and form a complex. Then after, in the second step, you are adding an enzyme, and this enzyme is complementary to the antibody, so it will go and bind to the antibody, so they will form a chain like thing, and the unbound antibodies are being removed by washing. And the final step is there, enzymes will be there. In the washing, what will happen, the extra enzymes will also be washed away, and the extra antibodies will also be washed away. Now what will happen, understand this second step. The enzymes will bind to every antibody, but the antibodies which are bound to antigens, that will not be washed away with washing, they will remain there in the well. Other antibodies which are not actually bound to the antigen will also bind to the enzyme, and they will be washed away. So extra antibodies along with the extra enzyme is washed away. What is being left over is the complex. This complex will have antigen, antibody, and antigen to which antibody is attached, and antibody to which enzyme is attached, all in one chain. Okay. Now the final step. In the final step, the substance which is the enzyme substrate is added. So we are adding a substrate, an eating substrate, the substance over which the enzyme will act, and this will create colors. If there is binding of subsequent reaction, this produces a signal, and then signal can be in the form of color change, and then we can find out. Let us understand this on the basis of this diagram. See here, such kind of wells are being created. Earlier they were being created in the laboratory, but now we have plates present which already have these wells or holes present. Now they are well coated with antigen, now again washed, so the unattached antigens which are not attached are being washed away. Okay, then what we are doing, we are adding specific antibodies, and these will bind to the antigen to form the complex. Then again we will wash, so extra unbound will wash away, but for double surety we will wash again, I'll tell you. See, in the third step what we are doing, we are adding enzymes which are linked to the antibody, binds to specific antibody. Okay, so you can see here the chain is there, the enzyme is binding again, then again we are washing, so extra enzymes are taking away the extra antibodies which are still left. Now we are left over with only a chain having antigen, antibody, and enzyme. Now we are adding a substrate. This substrate goes and binds to the enzyme and gives color, and this color formation is proportional to the specific antibody. Whatever will be the amount of antigen antibody complex present, that will give the color, and on this, the basis of intensity of color, the level of antigens in the blood is being detected. Clear? So this is a very important technique, and it comes for 4 marks. You need to understand this.